All right, all right. Well, I would like to welcome you to the first iteration of the Bow Tie Tuesdays from the JMF Foundation. In case you guys don't know me, my name is Tyrone Wells, and I'm a member of the JMF Foundation and also an older cousin of Joe. Now, when I was asked to join the foundation, I was elated, because I wanted to do anything I can to, appreciate my cousin Joe and what he was able to give us in this earth while he was here. And also the opportunity to give, other people as talented as Joe a way to, to voice their talent and, embrace everything they can and maximize their potential in life. Now, before I go any further, I want to thank all the members of the JMF Foundation: Evelyn Fannell, Jeff Fannell, Brandy Fannell, Jasmine Fannell, Brian Barden, Phil Bradley, Anthony Brockett, Tim Mingia, Patricia Minus, and Les Talbot. And also wanted to give a thanks to you guys supporting us, contributors, collaborators, all you guys active in the IG Live, all the future, competitors and, contestants we have in our programs coming forward in the future. So we want to give you a future thank you, for helping us and, and staying with us and supporting us and keeping us strong as, we try to make a good impact in the world. Now, before we go into today's activities, I want to just talk about Joe for a little bit. Joe was a younger cousin of mine, and he was such a grounded, talented, person, beautiful spirit. And the thing about Joe is that he was so talented that, when I first heard him sing, it caught me off guard, but it didn't shock me. Because, somebody with that, who was not quiet, but so, low key to himself and reserved, he has such a big personality that, it shined bright when it was time to. And I think this foundation is a perfect way to honor Joe, because there's other people like Joe that's out there that can't, they don't really know how to show their talent yet. And we want to push them to the max, making sure that, they have support out there that, other people may not have, or they may feel they're trapped, or they're not supported by the family, or that, they're stricken by, financial means. But, we want to give people an opportunity to show exactly what they can show the world. Another thing about Joe is that, he has so much potential, and he was a world changer, once in a lifetime personality, very unique. And there's not a lot of unique people in this world, sadly to say. But, we do this, we do this for him, and we do this for people like him, and people that need a team of people around them that can have people reach their maximum potential. So we have a special guest today. We're going to bring him in a minute, Mr. Jeff Fannell. Jeff, you can send an invite. So Jeff is the president of JMF Foundation, and we're going to talk to him a little bit today about, how the organization was formed, the background behind it, his thoughts on, things going forward. And, we'll go, a little tit for tat on things. So, Jeff, if you can send an invite, I can bring you in now. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Good, Ty. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you standing, living in these crazy times now?
Man, just like everybody else, doing the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy times, but what's funny about it, Ty? We've been in this now for like 7, 8 months, and
Exactly.
some of this stuff is getting a little bit normal in a way, and
Mm-hmm.
we got to be careful about that. You know what I mean? But doing the best we can.
That's good. So I want
Yeah.
to give you just, I already said that you're the president of the foundation. So I want to get a little backstory from you. Exactly, what prompted the foundation to be formed. Give me a backstory, and then what the foundation means to you.
Yeah, I mean, you said something earlier that really hits, on the point, because, as a parent, you never expect to have to bury your kid, and especially when, the way we lost Joseph, in the car accident, it was so sudden, it was so unexpected, and, it caused a lot of pain, even to this day, you know. And, for us as a family, we wanted to be able to take that pain and turn it into something positive and at the same time honor Joe. And what you said earlier was so important, and that is that we want to help people reach their potential. Young people who have some talent, have some ability, but as you said, need a support system, need someone encouraging them, maybe need some resources in order to do what, they're capable of doing. And Joseph, unfortunately, didn't have the opportunities to fulfill his potential. So we want to, through this foundation and in his name, help other young people fulfill their potential, especially if they're talented in the arts. We want to help them fulfill their potential.
I agree. For people that didn't know Joe personally, how can you describe Joe to a person who hasn't met him? Or how can you describe his talent? You know, he's been very artistic between spoken word, poetry. He's able to, play the piano without, by hearing it. A lot of people can't do that. Even the top-notch musicians out there can't do it. So
Yeah.
how would you describe Joe in a day-to-day basis, and just give us a backstory on how you view Joe?
Again, you said something earlier too. You said Joe was unique, right? And he was. I mean, he was so unique that sometimes he kind of drove me crazy. You know what I mean? Because, there was nobody like him, you know, and he responded in a Joe kind of way to everything. Joe was going to do what Joe does, he wasn't going to move to anybody else's beat. So he's a little bit unpredictable. When you expect him to be quiet, maybe he wasn't. He talked a lot. When you expect him to talk, he was quiet. But I think for the most part, he was someone who was more inward as a person. He took things in. He was very observant, you could tell, because when you spoke with him, he would share his observations and you say, okay, he's looking at things, he's taking things in, he's noticing what's going on. But, as a person, Joe was he was a loving person. He really cared about his mom. He would look after his mom, look after his sisters. As you said, very talented. But he was also just very reserved, respectful. And he was what you would want a son to be, and he was growing into a man. He was 22 when he passed away, and he was coming into himself. It took him a while. He had some challenges, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But he was coming into himself, and to me, he was what you would want a son to be.
Great words, Joe. So in regards to his talent, what advice would you give people similar to Joe out there that has talent, but they don't know how to harness it or activate it, or they're kind of hesitant of showing the world what they have? What advice would you give people in that situation?
To go for it, because that's what Joe did. Because, Joe was different when he was performing, when you compare him when he wasn't performing, right? He would easily stay in the background when he wasn't performing, maybe a little quiet, even among family and in gatherings and things like that. He might laugh a little bit, talk a little bit, but he was kind of reserved, in a family setting and group settings. But man, when he got that microphone in his hand, he was different. I mean, he just went for it. And he even spoke about that and wrote about that when he had that mic in his hand, he felt like, okay, this is the real me. And he felt different. And he also talked about how his performing helped him overcome some things that he would go through on a day-to-day basis. Like he said, for example, when he was performing a poem, if he misspoke or, missed a line or whatever, he has to continue to perform. And so it taught him how to continue to keep going, even if you make a mistake, right?
Push through it.
Yeah, and people need to learn that obviously in life, right? Because we are going to make mistakes, we're going to fail, we're going to fall down from time to time, but it's not the end of the world. You got to keep going. And he said that was something he learned through performing. And so if someone is maybe a little hesitant to perform, I would say to them, go for it, right? Give yourself an opportunity to express the God-given ability that you have. because it'll do something good for you, but
Hmm.
it'll also do something and bless somebody else too.
Got it. And one thing, going forward on the Bow Tie Tuesdays, you want to reach out to different artists, different talented youth, people that have been affected by bullying. October is bullying, anti-bullying month. Um, I know Joe overcame bullying via his talents. Can you elaborate on how he's able to get past that point and become the person he was becoming and bypass any bullying and just focus on what he was doing? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. The bullying aspect is really something in his life that was, for us was an eye opener
Hmm.
because we learned about him being bullied in high school after he got out of high school.
Hmm.
And, now that we have learned more about bullying and are continuing to learn, one of the things we're finding out is as kids get older, as they get into high school and they're bullied, they're less likely to say anything,
Okay.
as they get older. When in the younger grades, they're more likely to report it, to an adult. And so Joe didn't tell us,
Hmm.
right? And that's sort of what happens. And that's why if you're able, a parent or an adult is able to spot bullying earlier, that's really the best time because as the kids get older, they're less likely to report it. So
For
we didn't
sure.
find out until afterwards.
Hmm.
Um, but Joe, to his credit, right, he found that his art allowed him to overcome because that's where again he found that expression, he found self-confidence, he found that sense of worth, right, that bullying can take away from you.
Hmm.
And so much so that he wrote to me at one point when he was writing about what he wanted to become,
Hmm.
that he wanted to be able to go back to his high school and talk to kids about bullying and things like that. So, when you get to a point where something that got you down, you're now fighting it not only on behalf of yourself, but on behalf of others, then
Hmm.
you know you've conquered that thing. And so, I look at Joseph in that way and say, you know what? To his credit, he was able to overcome it through his art.
Got it. And that gives inspiration to a lot of people that's in the same, boat because some people repress bullying, but he was able to overcome that and, be able to say, look, you know what, I can overcome this and I can go back to where there's someone that was in my shoes before and show them the ropes and say, look, you can get past this point. Because the
Right.
problem, bullying has been a constant issue, not even in our community, but through the world. You have
Hmm.
online bullying, you have corporate bullying where your supervisor may bully you to, when they did it. So even adults deal with bullying as we speak. So I
Yeah.
think it's beneficial that we provide a platform to people to say, look, you can overcome what you're going through now because it's not the end of the road, it's the beginning.
Hmm.
Growing up, I've been bullied. Been bullied about my height, my looks, my what I was wearing. But at the same time, I understood that you have to, like you said, persevere and get through the situation, and become the person you are. Then you can actually show the world that look, any bullying that happened to me was the past, and it doesn't reflect who I am as a person. And I want
Yeah.
to give Joe credit for that because as an adult to repress that, but still build enough strength to come back and say, look, I'm going to show the people who bully me down the line that I'm better than what
That's
they'll ever
right.
be. So
That's
that
right.
takes a lot of character and strength to display that to people, and a lot of people I think our program definitely will we can highlight that and show people say, look, you follow the footsteps with Joe, you can be the same way. Just show your talent, let your talent speak for yourself.
Yeah.
No
No
one else
doubt.
speaks for you. I mean, they can call you whatever name they want to, but you know who you are at the end of the day. And I think
That's
that we
right.
can make a lot of positive impact by highlighting that and detailing what Joe did and how he's able to overcome it.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. And when we think about Joe being 22,
Hmm.
that you're just starting to live, as an adult. Um, and sometimes we think someone has to live this long life, accomplish all these great things in order to leave an impact. But that's not the case, right? Because in the short time that Joe had here, even we as a family are still feeling, and appreciating and learning about the impact that he had, and that's a good thing. And that's one of the reasons why we started the foundation. We wanted people to know about Joe, and we also wanted to do good things in his name to continue to honor him.
Well, just to, we can take a step back from bullying. So October is also National Arts and Humanities Month. So I know the arts was a big thing to Joe.
Yeah.
We have a few events coming up that, spoken word, the gospel event, and we also did the spoken word poetry contest earlier in the year. So I noticed one thing that Joe was passionate about. How did it feel to conduct that first event and award, talented people with those, funds that they really need, especially in this time of day? How did it feel personally to you to say, look, we can have people come in, do poetry, something that Joe would love, and still, bless them with money, and especially in this dire time? How does it feel personally to you to be able to achieve that?
I mean, it really feels good. I mean, it really feels great. First of all, it's always a good thing to help somebody else, right? It's always a good thing to try to bless someone else. But to do it through the fund, to do it in Joe's name, it really feels good, and it's really part of the ongoing healing process for us. That it allows us to continue to celebrate Joe, even as we miss him. So that's a good thing. And we did the first Gospel Cafe. You were there. We did that in January. Gave away a $500 scholarship to a young woman who played the flute. She had no idea. She was there to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I, your aunt, we both were like, we need to bless her with something, and so we were able to give her, a cash award just, because we wanted to encourage her in her talent. And so that felt good. And then, as you said, this summer we had the spoken word contest. I think it was for 16 to 22-year-olds, and we had some cash awards. We had 4 winners, and we had people from all across the country sending in their submissions, right? And so we got an opportunity to see all these talented young people. They had an opportunity to display their talent, and then we had 4 contestants that came away with some dough, right? So that was pretty good,
And it was a tough competition at that. There was a lot of talented people out there that, gave everything they had and really showcased the talent. So I want to give a big props to those guys for, sending it in and, letting their work speak for themselves.
Yeah. And we had a couple, Ty, if you remember, who, even though they did not win, they even wrote in, expressing their appreciation for being a part of the contest and being a part of these other talented young people, because they were able to see, the winners, because we showcased them, and they were able to see, the talent that was out there. And even though they didn't win, to be inspired to keep going on. So, for those who won cash prizes, it was great, but also it did something for those who were just able to be a part of a competition to continue working on their skills and be inspired to get better.
Got it. We also have something coming up called the $28 for 28 campaign, for celebrate Joe's birthday. You want to give the I guess the audience a little glimpse of that before it arrives?
Yeah, I think. Well, we have something actually coming up before that. I think, right? We have the performing arts competition.
Correct. That's in December. Yep.
Yeah, which for us, like I said, we talked about the spoken word contest. That was for 16 to 22-year-olds, but we wanted to do something for even the younger generation. So we're going to have a performing arts competition coming up November, December, for 10 to 15-year-olds. And we'll divide them up 10 to 12, 13 to 15. And, if they can sing, dance,
show your
perform
talent,
poetry,
right?
just show your talent. Whatever it is that you're able to do, show your talent. We want to give them a platform to do that. And there'll also be some cash prizes for them as well. So we have that coming up. But the 28 for 28, Joe would be 28, his next birthday, January 14th.
Hmm.
And so, we're going to have a 28 for 28 where we're just going to be asking people to donate $28 in Joe's name and in his honor so that we can continue doing these things, right? Because, we're talking about giving away cash prizes. Well, we have to raise some money too. I mean, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, to keep it
right?
afloat.
That's right. You can't give what you don't have, right?
Nope, you
And
can't give out
so,
free money.
no. So, that would be something that we would be able to do to raise some money in his name so that we can continue doing these things and others because we want to really be a blessing to people and we want to be able to sustain it. We don't want to be here for this year and then be gone next year. We
Exactly.
want to be able to sustain it, keep it going, keep his name alive, and keep being a blessing to people and giving young people encouragement and a platform to demonstrate their talent.
Got it. And that's a big thing, you know. And where can we find this info for the people that don't know?
Well, I mean, where can't you find it, right? As you know, your aunt, my wife, right?
Hmm.
I mean, she does a great job on behalf of the fund, right? I
Yes, he
mean,
does.
we're everywhere, right? We're
Hmm.
here on Instagram, JMF Fund, underscore fund. They can find us there. We're on Facebook. We have a website, the Joseph M. Memorial Foundation .org. You can find us there at JMF .org. You can find us. We're on the web. We're on social media. Um, my wife has this fund everywhere. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, and she really does a good job in getting the information out there. Um, and as she writes all the time, she always talks about her Joe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she's really spearheading this effort and doing a great job.
Hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have been an inspiration to, you know, a lot of parents out there that I think that want to show their gratitude to, you know, any kids they've lost. But I think I want to say that personally for me, you guys have been tremendous, you know, throughout the whole process. Even when I was a kid, you know, growing up, you've been there for me. Um, my aunt Evelyn has been there for me, and you guys have really been top-notch people, and I really respect you guys a lot, a ton. And what we're doing as a foundation, we can really change a lot of lives. And I appreciate you guys asking me to join, not only as a member, but being a part, premiering this, you know, the Bow
Yeah,
Tie
man.
Tuesday. So that's a big thing for me. And I think Joe would appreciate everything we're doing for him. I think our family does. I think the people,
Mhm.
the public does. I think the people that have benefited from the competitions have. I think we opened over, I say we turned the rock that a lot of people, you know, have been sitting under. And you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of lives you can touch. You know, a lot of people that, like I said, like I touched on before, people that don't have the support system, people that
Mhm.
you know are either in dire needs or you know they're stricken by their families and they don't have an outlet. I think we provide that outlet for people that want to express themselves.
Mhm.
Um, Anything you want to give? You know, what do you see the organization as in a couple of years? You want to see us grow as more members or get into different things, or what do you ultimately see the foundation becoming in the future?
Well, before I answer that, I just want to go back to something and just say, appreciate what you just said about, about my wife and myself. But also, I want to say this, about you as well. I mean, we wanted you to be a part of this, the foundation, be on the board because your quality, you know what I mean? To me, you were in the family, you were setting that example for your younger cousins, right? When you went away to college, it was kind of tough. I remember we had some conversations late
We
at
did.
night, you know what I mean? Where,
We did.
we talked through certain things and what have you. But you were able to go out there, get your education, show that example to your younger cousins.
Hmm.
You came out, start doing your thing in business. Now you're running your own, your own business, so and as a young man, this is a platform for you too, right? And your cousin Anthony is also part of the board. And we wanted to be able to, and we're blessed in that way, that we can just look in our family and see someone like you, someone like Anthony, who, even though you're relatively young, and you know how young people sometimes get the bad rap, right?
Exactly.
but you guys are, handling your business and doing it with integrity and responsibility and all those good things. And so we definitely wanted to have you as a part of this, so we appreciate that. But as far as the fund and where we see it, we want this to have the greatest impact that it can have. And we don't want it to be limited by any thoughts of what it is that we can't do. We believe we can do all things through Christ, right? And so we believe that we can, really make this into something that makes a difference. And I think that's the thing, so we're not measuring it in terms of the size of it or how much money we have or how many people we have following us and all that kind of thing. Because in the end, Ty, if we can positively impact one person's life,
Mm-hmm.
that's important. You know what I mean? If we can help one person turn around, if we can encourage one person, then we can make a difference. And I believe that if we have that heart, we will impact many more than that. But in the end, our guiding force is we want to make a difference while we have an opportunity and do it in Joseph's name. And so that's a double bonus, right? To make a difference, be a blessing to someone, and to do it in honor of our son and in memory of his name.
That's great. And like I said, one thing about this Bow Tie Tuesday, you want to start having guests come onto the show. Interview them, let them speak their truth, what they have to say, show their talents, just to learn a little bit more about the people that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm speaking to the audience now. If you guys know any talented artists, dancers, singers, graphic artists, or even anyone that's been bullied or having trouble in school or needs any support, have them come on the show or reach out to Evelyn, myself, or Jeff, or any of our social media team. And we would like to have a sit down and talk just to hear the side of the story and, see exactly where they're coming from and, impact them the way we want to. This was a good experience, first episode, I think it went well. And I'm glad that, I got to kick it off, and I appreciate everyone in the comments saying hi and thank you, and really appreciate the love and support we get. Anything you want to say to close out, Jeff?
No, just, we feel, as much as this has been, as I said, just incredibly painful for us. It's been 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still, feeling that pain. We've gotten a lot of support from family and from friends, and that helps us, to be strong. God keeps us strong. But I also believe wanting to do this is, is really trying to turn that pain around and do something positive with it. And we're gonna keep doing it, man. We're gonna keep doing it. Things happen in this life. You don't know why. You rather it didn't happen, but you got to deal with it. And as you said before, some people, you said something about being under a rock, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Right. Some people stay under a rock. And I'm just grateful that we're not there and that we're helping perhaps other people who are there to come out
Mm-hmm.
and to encourage them. Because hopefully too, as we help young people in Joe's name, maybe we also will help parents who are in a similar position as we are to know that, they can go forward. As hard as it may be, that they can still go forward and turn that tragedy into some form of triumph for themselves and for other people. So, part of it is to continue to go forward and be an inspiration to other people.
Great words from a great man. I want to thank you again, Jeff, for coming on to the show. Hopefully
Thanks
we'll
for
have you on
having me,
again
man.
down the line. We'll talk about some more stuff as we go along.
That's
Thank you
it.
to all the supporters in the comments and everyone that viewed in and came onto the live to support us. I want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week. All right.
All right. Thanks, Ty.
See you guys.
All right.